Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. In case you forgot.
All right. Welcome to the R&R Show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best little sports show ever. I'm your host, Michael Roope, and this is my co-host, William Rumsey. Hello, William.
Howdy.
All right. Today, we will be going over the R&R Show's top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. I know this was a lot of fun when I did the list. I hope it was the same for you.
It was.
Brought back a lot of good memories.
It was, and when you posted the Rock's picture, that has gotten the most traction out of all the Roope and Rumsey posts.
It really has. I mean,
very exciting.
It really. I think anybody can relate. As a boy growing up. Mm-hmm. Man, we were glued to that Saturday morning wrestling for sure as it exploded on the scene. So what we're going to do, we are actually going to break this up into two segments. This segment, we will go over 10 through 6 for each of our lists. And then on the next segment, obviously, we'll do the top 5. And we will actually bring on a special guest on that next segment to, because I have a feeling we're going to have a little bit more of an 80s flair. Probably. We haven't seen each other's list, but I believe an 80s, probably more of an 80s contingent on our list.
Are we bringing in The Rock?
we are not. I wish. Unfortunately, the R&R show has not
make
quite
time for the R&R show.
Exactly. So, but hey, guys, without further ado, we are going to get at it because again, a lot of stuff to unwrap here on our top 10. Who's your number 10?
I have the Legion of Doom, also known as the Road Warriors.
Wow.
What a rush.
All right. Hey, listen, great choice. What'd you love about the Road Warriors?
Well, I'd say they are considered probably the best tag team in history.
Absolutely.
For me, it was just their imposing size, their characters, those shoulder pads with the spikes, the face paint, the mohawks, all that together. Just as a young dude, I was just like, who are these guys? So for me, the first kind of recollection I have is them pairing up with the Ultimate Warrior to face off against who they were in the running for top 10 as well, Demolition.
Oh, wow.
So I actually went back and rewatched a lot of that match, and it was exciting. But that was just, the excitement was in the air for that match, and that got me hooked.
I wholeheartedly agree, but except for the Demolition part, I never did like them, and the reason why, I felt like they were trying to basically be Road Warrior wannabes.
It's funny you say that because Vince McMahon did pattern Demolition after.
Yeah, and I didn't like that. I only want the original. I get that they might be on our Get 'Em Out of Here. Early run in Demolition. Yeah. All right. Well, great choice.
Yeah.
I wholeheartely agree with that selection. My number 10 is probably not going to be on a lot of people's list, just for the simple fact he was prevalent when I was really young. But that is one George the Animal Steel.
That's a good one.
Do you remember George?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I think he was kind of filtered out when I was
getting into the scene. All right. Hey, listen, George Animal Steel as a kid, I was like glued to the Saturday morning television sets, hoping to see that green tongue wagon and him going to town on a turnbuckle.
Wasn't he just big, burly, and hairy?
He was. And he was the animal.
So I guess I do remember him a little bit.
And he was quite the character because as a kid, you like to see. That's what's so great about the 80s was they were cartoon characters come to life. And the 80s definitely had a bunch of characters, no more so than George the Animal Steel. And on the side note, he actually looked like my Uncle Leroy.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yes. My Uncle Leroy looked like, minus the hair, but he definitely looked like...
Have you seen that Leroy Jenkins video?
I have not. I have not. So, okay. But I hope, and then also he had a fascination for Miss Elizabeth For all those older people watching, they will remember that. Randy Savage did not like that.
No.
So, but go ahead. What do you got for your number 9?
Speaking of cartoon characters, so I have Roddy Piper.
Ah, great choice.
Yeah, so funny thing, he's actually Canadian.
I did not know
but
that.
has Scottish heritage, so that's where the Irish
Scottish
stuff. Yeah. So I got into Roddy Piper because of Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. Mm-hmm. So Hogan was actually, the leader of the Heroes? And then Rowdy was part of the villains / heels.
Yeah.
And that came in, I think it started around the mid-80s.
And man, didn't he play a great villain?
Oh, man.
He was like a great heel.
Yeah. So that cartoon really got me on to Roddy Piper. And then just his presence, he was just loquacious.
Yes, very loquacious.
Yeah, so... and then I liked his entrances with the bagpipes.
Yep.
He actually, and then the biggest tidbit, he headlined WrestleMania 1 with Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, and then who was his partner? Do you remember?
Yes, a guy that it unfortunately almost made my list, but one Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Yes, absolutely,
yeah.
Yes. Listen, I wholeheartedly agree with the Roddy Piper pick. He unfortunately did not make my list. Almost made my list, but did not. Great villain, and I think he made the eye poke famous.
Yes.
Yeah, he gave the old, the little Three Stooges.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rowdy was a great. But I liked Rowdy even more so, not for his wrestling, but his interviews. What?
Yeah.
Do you
remember
Piper's
Pit?
That's right.
Yes.
Hey,
that was
listen.
great.
As a kid, nobody wanted to see anything more than a Piper's Pit segment because you knew something big was going to happen.
And then just some modern day pop culture stuff. He actually has, I don't know if it's still running, his part, but he has a recurring role in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Well, I believe he's passed away.
Oh.
This is breaking news. Yeah, Roddy Piper has passed away.
Well.
Yeah, so I know that reoccurring role is not happening anymore. Yes.
Oh, cut.
No, you're fine.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah, we're on.
Hey, listen. That was like, I feel like I just stunned you with that.
You did.
Yeah, Roddy Piper passed away.
That's a first.
I believe he passed away maybe a year or two ago.
That's a first.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. Get to know your top 10 list.
Give us your number 9, damn it.
My number 9 is probably not going to be on a lot of people's lists, nor I'm going to suspect going to be on yours. But man, did I love this guy, and that is one Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah.
Boy, that guy can talk. He kind of in the same lines with Roddy Piper. Very loquacious. Was literally, in my eyes, the best TV commentator, bar none. His run with Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah.
Those telecasts were top notch. Great wrestler too, but boy, I loved him as a TV commentator.
And I bet he's still alive.
Hey, he is. He is still alive. That much I do know. A couple other great things about Jesse the Body. He was he kind of transitioned from wrestling into acting, and boy, he had some great moments in some movies. Two of them that jumped out at me. He teamed up with Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Predator and Running Man, and a couple of the greatest lines ever in the Predator movie was "Son of a bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick."
Oh,
that is a great line. And then another part in that movie, he had gotten nicked up and he was bleeding. And the guy said, "Hey man, you're bleeding." He goes, "I ain't got time to bleed." I mean, God, he was awesome. Great actor. Also, and you know what? He was the governor of Minnesota.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go. You said it all about
listen,
the body.
Very well-rounded guy.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But anyway, who's number 8 on your list?
I have Aurelian Smith Jr., also known as Jake the Snake Roberts.
A great pick. Unfortunately, he did not make my list either.
Yeah.
But that's a great pick.
Yeah. So, bar none, for me, the coolest finishing move ever was the DDT.
Yes.
I think I may still have a bump on my forehead from a rogue DDT back in the day.
Yeah, I did. Have you ever performed a DDT on
I have. Yeah. I think one Michael Rumsey may have felt a few.
I think my brothers felt the wrath of a few of my DDTs too.
Yeah.
But, go ahead.
Famously, Jake the Snake, they asked him one time what DDT stood for, and his answer was the end.
The end. Hey,
yeah.
listen,
that's great.
That is a great. Nothing, with the letters or anything, just the end.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole list of things it could possibly stand for. He never disclosed it. He just said the end. The end,
and that's a true. That's a true statement.
Yeah. So then, kind of some modern day pop culture stuff. He actually did a recent interview on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Okay.
Heard it's really, really good, but I've not listened to it yet.
Yeah, I actually got the pleasure of actually meeting him and getting his autograph a year or two ago. My wife and son, he was very, very nice. Cool. Very personable. I could see why. I haven't seen the Joe Rogan or heard it, but. I can see that he would probably be really well.
From my understanding, he's had some issues in life, battling drugs and alcohol, and he's recovered from that. So, attaboy Jake the Snake.
Well, and also, if you have not seen the movie Peanut Butter Falcon, he did a cameo in that. That movie is an excellent movie with Shia LaBeouf.
I'll check it out.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so my number 8 was already on his list, and that is the Road Warriors.
Oh, man.
For me personally, bar none, the best tag team ever. It's not even a question. I loved them way before they ever made it to the WWF. I loved them when they were in the NWA. They used to come out to their entrance music was by Black Sabbath. We Are Iron Men.
Oh, man.
And boy, if you don't know that song, I encourage you to check it out. Boy, that got you amped up. They used to storm down the aisle and just run into and just annihilate everybody. But bar none, Hawk and Animal for me and my money, best tag team ever, and it's not a question.
Can we get a water rush into the microphone?
Water rush!
There we go. Yes.
So,
fire up.
All right.
Yeah.
So, what do we got for your number 7?
I have the Heartbreak Kid, Mr. Shawn Michaels, whose real name is Michael Shawn Hickenbottom.
Oh, so he just flipped the first and the second, and then definitely not going to throw in that last name on his.
No, not Hickenbottom.
Hey,
that should have been the name of his finishing move.
Boy, yeah, the Hickenbottom. That's actually pretty good. I like that. Break out the Hickenbottom.
Yeah. Maybe we can practice on this
that's
the table later. So, Shawn Michaels. I was introduced to him when he was in the Rockers, the tag team, the Rockers with Marty Jannetty, and then he transitioned into a single career. I just loved how cocky that dude was. Women loved him, just very cocky. And I didn't know this, but he apparently wrestled in 2007 as well against John Cena, and it said that was ranked by the WWE as the best match ever aired on the company's flagship Raw program.
Not the best ever, but the Raw program.
The Raw program.
Okay.
So,
I was going to disagree with you.
Sure. I felt it.
Go ahead.
I felt you winding up.
But
that says a lot because Raw has been.
Yeah.
How long has Raw been going?
It's been for a minute.
Yeah. So, and then also, just a pop culture reference that I know has been very prevalent in the world. He started D-Generation X, the tag team back in the day.
Absolutely.
And the X,
Yep.
that I've seen dudes do that for years.
Yeah, the old Suck It.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
There we go.
Hey, I mean, if you were a kid and you weren't... or heck, we weren't kids at that point.
We were
but
not.
Boy, it didn't matter. We were acting like kids.
Yeah, we were. We were.
But boy, him and I believe Triple H and there were some others in there. Pac, maybe.
Was Nash, Kevin Nash in that?
No, he's NWO.
No.
He was the New World
No,
Order.
no,
But,
no.
hey, listen.
Right.
Well... Okay, speaking of Kevin Nash, my number 7 isn't Kevin Nash, but this guy is probably on the number 1 on many, many lists, but he only made it as high as number 7, and probably the reason why is he turned heel at some point, but that is one Hulk Hogan. Hey, listen, I get it. He's probably number 1 on a lot of people's lists. The reason, I'm more of a bad guy, heel guy. But
number 7.
But don't get me wrong, I loved Hogan, but I loved Hollywood Hogan even more. But boy, he was just, he is the reason wrestling became such a mainstream sport, because when it did become, when McMahon had the vision to go from, because it was more of a regional territorial sport, and then he did it mainstream for the whole world to see. Boy, he gave the ball to Hogan and he ran with it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, unbelievable. But a lot of people don't know is before Hulkamania was born, he actually had that role in Rocky 3 as Thunder Lips. And I think McMahon saw that and
Thunder Lips.
And he was a bad guy in that. But Thunder Lips, kind of cemented, his appeal, I think, to McMahon, and he gave him the ball. And, he actually won the title in '84 when he broke the camel clutch. The first time ever the camel clutch got broke. Oh. And he won the title from the Iron Sheik.
Oh, the Iron Sheik.
That's
a good name. That's a good name.
Yeah, the old Iron Sheik.
I'm a little quiet right now because I just can't believe he's just number 7.
Well, I get it. Well, but the biggest match of all time that I think really in many wrestling circles, do you know what that is?
Well, for me, it's probably going to be different. But probably Hogan and Andre the Giant.
It is. Hogan and Andre the Giant. That literally cemented the wrestling universe as just a cultural thing. Yeah, it was literally I had arguments as a kid. These were real life arguments that we get in fights about, because I was on Team Andre, and a lot of people were on Team Hogan, because I just like the bad guys. And I'm like, there's no way they're going to ruin Andre's undefeated career.
Now, have you seen the Andre the Giant documentary?
I have.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
I've not seen it.
Oh, I highly recommend that. Okay. But getting back to Hogan, then when he turned bad in '96 and formed the NWO, boy, he went for such a beloved figure, but he was just as equally popular with the New World Order and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Yeah, and I was 16 years old, so I was away from wrestling at that point. But I do remember that switch, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
You didn't think it because he was such a popular figure for so long.
Yeah.
And as a kid, who didn't rip their shirt open, and pretend, they were a Hulkamaniac.
I've done that a few times.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right. So go on. Who do we got as your number 6?
So this is going to create probably a little bit of controversy because
I like controversy.
Oh, okay.
All right. What do we got?
So Mr. Tom Tiny Lister, also known as Zeus.
Oh, hey. Now that is a shocker.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
No.
Boy, I don't think his wrestling career was that long.
No, it was only a couple years, but he actually was in the movie No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
He was the heel in that. And that movie, I've probably seen it, I don't know how many times when I was younger, and I can't believe it didn't make my top 10 movie list. But that dude, I remember him in that movie, and then when he transitioned into his wrestling career, he was against Hogan, and just his interviews with Macho Man, and he had that damn Z on the side of it, and he was just a massive, massive individual.
And then, was he cross-eyed?
Yeah, he was a little cross-eyed, but he was born blind in that eye, and I think that helped.
The intimidation
factor. It was, but then also probably Friday is one of my favorite movies. So
absolutely, I was going to say
he's
that.
Number 6.
Yeah. That really cements the.
And I think
love.
I think he's still alive as well.
Well, no, I think, you know what? I think WWF missed the boat. They could have had Zeus coming down on a bike.
Oh, man. Devo!
So, but no, that's a great choice. I didn't see that coming. I'm sure a lot of people did.
He's short time packed in, but it was very powerful for me.
Yes, it was. Now, who is my number 6? I will tell you, I believe is the greatest villain, probably all time in the WWF, WWE universe. And that is none other than the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Boy, I loved his whole shtick that he had going on. And who didn't say everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man?
Oh, yeah.
He would cackle.
There we go.
Yeah, he would cackle after every time he would say that. And what made it so great is he would bring people that were out in the ringside to the ring and make them do something, and they'd be like, no, and he'd just keep throwing money. He literally made it rain before anybody.
Yeah,
he was just making it rain, and then they would finally cave in and do what he said, and he said, everybody's got a price.
Good stuff.
Awesome stuff. A couple other little tidbits. What made him great? He didn't have a belt, so what did he do? He created his own belt. He created the $1 million, $1 million belt, which was I don't think they recognized it, but you know what? He wore it. He didn't care. And another thing, just to cement just the greatness of his character. I don't know if you remember, they had a Saturday night's main event where Andre beat Hogan for the title. Then $1 Million Man was in his corner. He quickly goes to the ring and he buys the title from Andre.
Oh.
Yes, so great guy.
Yeah.
And boy, I loved his cackle. He would cackle after every time.
You like
so
the $1 Million Man.
I did.
Nice.
So,
very nice.
Well, that's going to wrap up our top or 10 through 6 list. So we will come back here in a minute to go over then our top 5. So I hope you guys stay tuned. Thanks.